Hello guys, it's Glurmit here. We are back, and in today's video we're going to be talking a little bit about newer content versus older content. Now, as you can see guys, we are not on the main account today, we're actually on the free-to-play account. There will be an episode coming out within the next day or so, showing the progress for the account. However, what we want to be talking a little bit about today is when you should farm newer content and why it might benefit you. And the reason we're on the free-to-play account is obviously because on this account it's more of an issue. You know, when do I go for newer content versus when do I farm the older content? So guys, when we talk about newer, older content, the first thing we need to be talking about is, firstly, is it a journey guide character? You know, if it's not a journey guide character, then the issue is not as big. So you can see I've actually got the executor highlighted here. For any of you who have been following my free-to-play series, you'll know that Bo-Katan is a key part of that, alongside some other characters here. So when it comes to newer content, guys, there's kind of one or two reasons to go for them. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use the Night Sisters as a prime example of both newer and older content and why you would go for one and not the other. So guys, as you can see on the account, we have actually been farming some Night Sisters. We're already almost at 7-star Merrin. Morgan will be 7-star with the daily login rewards. Great Mothers is on her way eventually. She's now pushed back because of the Disguised Clone Trooper farming. Night Trooper's on the way as well. You can see I've got a Sarge, an older character, but as you can see here guys, I've got no progress on Talzin, none on Daka, and none really on any of the older Night Sisters. Now you might be thinking, why would I do that? Well, this is the example I'm trying to give you guys. If I went ahead and farmed the older Night Sisters, you would need Merrin, so you still need a relatively new character. You are going to be getting a decent team. It's not going to be one of the best teams in the game by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, it can beat some Jabba teams and you can beat some QAs in 3v3, although I'm not going to lie guys, that's very RNG dependent, and you need decent relic levels for that. Or at least relic levels in the Datacron, right? It's not like you can just rock a gear 12 for Merrin and win. It's not going to happen. So, the new Night Sisters, Great Mothers, Morgan, the newer content, yes, it's expensive. It requires a lot more Kyrotech, a lot more of this, a lot more of that. But it gets you more for your investment. And that's the most important thing. If we did the older Night Sisters, yes, you get a decent team. I don't want to say amazing, I don't want to say bad, because it's not bad at all. But it is just a decent team, right? In Grand Arena, Territory Wars, you name it. Although Territory Wars, it does go down a little bit in value because you lose the Omicron value from Merrin. And that's the other thing here, guys. That team does require an Omicron to become very powerful, right, in Grand Arena, unless Merrin's Omicron. But you can actually farm the Great Mothers team, right? And that's going to give you the same value in Grand Arena, right? The same value in Territory War, if not more. It doesn't require any Omicrons. They're all optional. Even in Territory War, her Omicrons are amazing, but you don't need them for the team to perform well. And the best thing about it, guys, is rather than getting one assault battle at the end, you're actually getting two. Because if you go down the route and you farm Night Trooper and you farm Death Trooper Peridia, you're only one character away, which is Enoch, from actually getting yourself a team capable of that assault battle as well, which is the same power tier, whatever you want to call it, of the Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon one, which we've been speaking a lot about on the channel, right? So obviously it makes a lot of sense in my mind to at this time prioritize the newer content over older, because yeah, we're gonna be in a position where newer content is very expensive to farm. I understand that. They have actually just been accelerated, so this example isn't the best, but the return on investment is too good, right? To get these assault battles is just too important. And you get an overall better team. And the best thing is, you don't even need to apply Merrin's Omicron because it doesn't really do a lot in a Great Mother's team. So it can also save you those resources and you can use them elsewhere. Which I understand for some of you, you have so many Omicrons hoarded, it's not a big problem. But for those of you like me who are on a very new account, it would be very beneficial. So guys, that's just an example. We can apply that to any faction in the game. Right, and this question also came up a couple years ago when Iden released, guys, and everyone was like, well, what do you farm? Do you farm Iden or do you farm the new troopers? And Iden or the old troopers? And again, these sort of questions always come up. But there's more to it, guys, because there are some cases where farming older content's fine. So, for example, say you're playing the game as I am, right? We're obviously going for Bo-Katan and the Executor. And Bo, Bo's new content, Executor is still pretty much old content, or at least the transition towards newer content starts with Executor. What you'll notice is a lot of these characters here, with the exception of Jedi Knight Cal, and the tier 4 characters, with the exception of Afra, Mace, Jar Jar, and I would say GI, are really easy to get. They're very low hanging fruits, they don't require relics for the most part. Obviously Starkiller does, but that's a different story. And they're relatively easy to get. For example, C3PO, right? You can see I've already done a little bit of gearing, but you can get him relatively easy. Now, all the shards are very easy to get. They're all got from the guild stores, Galactic War stores, all of these sorts of areas. Gearing them up to gear 12 is going to cost you nothing because of raid changes. Raid changes were ages ago, but for those of you who weren't playing before they changed, basically before the gear you got was completely random, whereas now you can choose what you get, and you can really hone in and target specific gear pieces. It makes gearing up characters ridiculously easy. So there's no reason why you can't have C3PO and gear 12 Ewoks in like a matter of weeks if you decided to do it, right? Making this a relatively easy farm. And guys, really, when we're talking about older content versus newer content, this is an example of when you can farm older content without it really taking away from the newer stuff, right? C3PO, Chewbacca, Jedi Knight Revan is a little bit different because you are going to have to go out of your way to farm shards. You know, we've also got characters in the tiers before, like CLS, Padme, all of these. Even guys, General Skywalker, Jedi Knight Luke, these aren't too ridiculous to farm nowadays. Like, it's not like it used to be, where you can't really just go through them, you have to target them and go through them for months and months. Now you can absolutely just farm them as you go along. So that's why I kind of think prioritizing newer content isn't a bad thing, but older content can still be good to supplement a roster. However, guys, I just want to quickly put in there sometimes when it's just always better to avoid newer stuff. Datacrons, I don't have any on this account. Actually, I lied, guys, I have one on this account. Can you believe that? Anyways, guys, when it comes to newer content, my recommendation to you guys is just don't bother farming for Datacron specific characters until you're in the mid to late game, because you're just going to be in a position where you can't really utilize the benefits enough, and it's quite expensive, it takes a lot of resources. We've spoken about this before on the channel, lots of people have spoken about this. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about this. However guys, if you are going to do Datacrons, in terms of newer, older content, I do recommend you guys save up the 10k and buy one of these at least per season or per month if you can afford it. And the reason being, these work even without relic levels, so you can boost those teams. So for example, say you do the Great Mothers Night Sisters, and this will be a thing forever unless they change it. You can just put one of these, leave them at gear 12, they're still going to cause your opponent massive problems. So guys, that's kind of just my thoughts on newer content versus older content and why sometimes it's better to farm the newer stuff. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. My name is Glurmit, and as always guys, have a glurming day.